morning, friends. I just wanted to start off this vlog by saying a little piece about this week's horrible events. 2 innocent black men were murdered in cold blood, Alton Sterling and Philando Castile. And then in the aftermath of that, we had 5 officers killed in Dallas, Texas, in what was supposed to be a peaceful protest. And outside forces, not involved with that protest, that Black Lives Matter protest, unfortunately killed these 5 officers. And a lot of people have tensions running high, and a lot of people are upset, and rightfully so, and people are scared, and people are angry, and people don't have all the facts, and people are acting a lot on feeling instead of on logic and data. People are becoming divisive. People are looking at us versus them. And as someone who recognizes that I have a privilege to speak on a platform where a lot of people will hear me, and also that I'm a white woman, and sometimes my voice is going to be heard in ways that other voices aren't, unfortunately. It's in this time that, I think it's very important for white people in particular to start to listen to people of color, something that, we should be doing all along. But really in these moments to really listen. Many times when situations don't directly affect you, it is dismissive and it is inappropriate for you to express your opinions before listening to the opinions of those that are directly affected by a tragedy. Many of you heard me read this on Periscope, and I've also reposted it on my Facebook, but I wanted to share some thoughts of a friend of mine, Marisha, and what she wrote in the wake of this, and it's very much how I feel as well. Again, and this is something I said on a separate post, I stray away from conversations where my voice is not needed, and I try to do work in white silos instead, fully cognizant that my ally card expires every night at midnight and I have to earn it every day. And my thoughts and my opinions, I don't deserve to speak over someone who is facing, far more oppression. Again, this is not the oppression Olympics, right? But far more oppression and fear and anxiety in their everyday life than I will ever experience. And I could never experience those things that many black women and men in this country feel. But I do think, and I wrote this on a separate post, that it is very tone deaf to articulate discomfort about fears that don't affect you. So don't dismiss the fears and the anxieties of black men and women in this country. And in fact, when you minimize and you derail those conversations, you actually sort of just reveal what a privilege it is to scoff off things, to say, oh, well, that's no big deal. Well, it's no big deal to you, but it is a big deal to someone else. So let me just read really quickly what my friend Marisha wrote, and then we'll get on with the rest of the vlog. Black Lives Matter. For God's sake, that doesn't mean white, brown, and blue lives don't matter. The spirit of the movement is not to say that only Black lives matter, but rather to highlight the disproportionate number of black deaths as a result of police brutality, and to remind society that such inequalities exist. Leaving those fatal inequalities in place is implicitly saying black lives don't matter enough to address them. Those inequalities are backed by more than history. They are backed by data. And that's why saying all lives matter in response is not productive, even if the idea that all lives matter is true, which it obviously is. All lives will matter when Black lives matter. Furthermore, whether those who have been killed were criminals or not, we give our citizens due process in this country. And that's one of the things that makes us great. It doesn't matter what the criminal record was or wasn't. They didn't deserve to die. Conversely, though, the spirit of Black Lives Matter is a reason for anger. It is not a blank check for violence. And violence is so counterproductive to this cause. Innocent black men are dead. Honorable police officers are dead. What is the reason? An overly polarized country, sharply divided on nearly every issue, unable to come together and engage in honest and open dialogue about the real and perceived inequalities in our criminal justice system. We have been divided into teams. You're either on the side of the cops or on the side of the minorities. How does that make any damn sense? I, like most, have the utmost respect for the brave and honest police officers who put their lives on the line daily to keep us safe. And I can still see and still be saddened and angry that minorities are being executed at the hands of cops. I can also recognize that many officers are quicker to pull the trigger when they see the color of their victim's skin. Ask yourself honestly, would you do any differently? We give our cops the power they need to protect us. We must also hold them to the high standards for the responsibility that comes with it. The solution, or at least the start of one, is to examine the foundations of our justice system and to understand the preconceived notions on both sides that underlie our actions. Until we can look inward and see our own racial and religious and sexual biases as individuals and as a society, no matter how evolved we think we are, until we demand real action from our leaders and our communities and our peers, until we stop dividing ourselves into teams and fighting each other, and instead start fighting injustice, these senseless deaths will continue to occur. You are not for cops or for minorities. You are for the right to life. You're for justice. Is there any hope left, or will we make the whole world blind? Hips have been really tight and this vein just will not chill. And so at the suggestion of my coach and Jordan, the muscle doc, I've been rolling out my adductors, these insides of your legs here. People don't pay them good enough attention. So I've been rolling and this freaking kills this inside area. Oh my goodness gracious, it hurts all the way down to my knee, and that's probably the worst part. This is okay. This sucks really bad. Ooh. Training is done and it's officially like 3 o'clock. It's 3:21. Wow, I need to break my fast. So we're going home, gonna make some food. Gym, and I just want to talk a little bit about rest and relaxation.
I have been taking a deload week the past couple days, about maybe 5-6 days, but really the past couple weeks I've been feeling kind of slow and sluggish. I've been traveling a lot. I went down to San Diego multiple times over the past month. I've been working as well, like 9 to 3, and so I'm really sluggish during the day because I'm sort of sitting there moving around very minimally when I'm teaching. Obviously I stand and I talk, but that's not the same as me going on walks with Leia multiple times a day like I was when I had a little bit of time off of work. So as a result of that, my training has kind of felt just slow. While I'm squatting, sometimes I know that the weight is not that heavy and it doesn't feel heavy on my back. I'll get in the hole and feel fine, but then as I ascend, I feel like I'm waiting for my body to catch up with me. And for me, that signified, and I expressed to my coach, I'm just fatigued. And I haven't taken a break from training since February when I was really sick, but before that, since probably August of last year. So it's been a long time since I've taken a break and my body's just tired. My hips are tired from driving a lot. And so I kind of wanted to express how necessary it really is to have rest and relaxation. Taking 1 week off training is not going to impede your progress over the course of the rest of your life. In fact, it's essential to take rest and relaxation time, a week off here and there, especially when you're feeling either sluggish physically or you're just feeling bogged down mentally, so that you can actually fall back in love with training. And that's not my problem right now. I really love training. It feels like I'm waiting for my body to catch up with my mentality a lot of the time. So I'm listening to my body and giving myself some time to recover. Along with that comes with sleep and taking time to actually get real rest instead of just sleeping 5-6 hours a night. And I've been trying to do that, sleep in a little bit later and go to bed a little bit earlier. Kyle will argue with me that I don't go to bed early enough all the time. He wants to go to bed super early. He's like an old grandpa. But yeah, so I've just been really focusing on taking care of myself. Been obviously seeing my therapist and doing a lot more mobility. That's my goal for July, of course. And just taking this time in between. I'm not prepping for anything. I'm not cutting for anything. I don't really have any urgent or immediate goals at hand. And, I posted an Instagram post about this where I expressed that actually gives me, someone who's an ESTJ, a sense of anxiety. Again, that I'm like, I should feel like I should be doing something right now. Like, it's the unknown. I don't have anything planned. I don't have a perfect timeline of what's coming next. But instead of being anxious, I've chosen to interrupt that anxiety with gratitude for this time, for this growing and learning time, learning about my body, learning about what makes me tick. So it's been pretty beneficial, and I've been glad that I haven't been stressing myself out so much with hitting new PRs all the time and just doing what my body thinks is right. All right, so we are off to go see Secret Life of Pets. Woo! We've been waiting for so long to see this. Whoa. And Kyle is eating yogurt because his goal for July is no processed foods. I mean, that's processed, but I guess no shit food, no junk food. Yeah, so you haven't eaten
except that booty.
Okay, well, you haven't eaten any pizza or hot Cheetos. He's been eating healthy this month, whatever that means.
I feel so clean.
So, eat salad one time. Oh my God, I'm the cleanest eater ever. Delish. That's a lot of protein. You're gonna fart a lot. Okay, let's go. That was delicious. Kyle's working on plans over there, and I'm gonna get ready to go to bed. I will catch up with you guys in the morning, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about some wedding plans and just some other stuff, some happy stuff. So Catch you in the morning.
You go say goodnight. Leia, can you sit? You sit? You give me paw? Good girl. You give me high five. Say good night.
Good morning. Really quickly, I made Kyle pancakes, which I'll show you. And I put bad milk in them. I didn't know.
Oh, there's bad milk in here?
Oh, like a tiny, tiny little bit. It would have curdled and baked. You're okay.
I hope so.
You're gonna be okay. You've eaten far worse things in your life. I'm sitting here editing the vlog, and I just wanted to really briefly talk about a couple things that, a lot of people have been asking, like, oh, I'm interested to see how, with your feminism, you are going to approach wedding planning and how you approach marriage and things like that. So much of our wedding itself, like the ceremony, will be non-traditional. At least at the reception and things like that, like we're not gonna do like the bouquet toss, the garter toss, the cake cutting, all of those like very like traditional things, simply because number one, we think that they're cheesy, and if that's something that's important to you, that's great. Just for us, like that's just not, there's no reason for that. And number two, because we think that they're unnecessary, and that they sort of just align themselves with like pulling single people out, like, oh, you're the next to get married, and I don't know, they're just things that don't really appeal to us and don't really reflect our personalities. Something that is very non-traditional that I think some people are kind of weirded out by is I don't plan to be walked down the aisle by my dad. I plan to walk down the aisle by myself. Traditionally, a wedding was, an exchange of property. Women are, or were at least, sometimes still are, seen as property, and so the changing of hands was reflective of that. And I think that that's probably the most problematic aspect of marriage, right? And though I understand that for many people, they're like, well, then don't get married because no way can marriage be a feminist choice. I think that it can be, but you need to be cognizant about the very misogynistic and backwards and anachronistic understandings of what marriage used to mean, and reappropriate those things and make them work for you today in your feminist union. Another thing that I think is kind of different about our wedding planning is the fact that we are both planning a wedding together, that we're making all of these decisions together. It's far too often that I see couples plan a wedding, but really it's just the bride doing everything by herself with her bridesmaids, and I just feel that that's really problematic. And for Kyle and I, if we're both getting married, we should both be wearing engagement rings. We should both be planning a wedding. We should both have say and choice in what we do and, what the invitations look like, what our tables look like. We want to throw a great party. And part of that is Kyle, making the decision that we're going to self-DJ, and Kyle's like, I want our music to be there. So he's putting together his playlist, and all those things are really, really important that you are both involved in the wedding planning process. Obviously to alleviate some of that stress on just one person, but also so that it really does become a party that is the two of you together. I think one of the most important parts of us planning to get married and this wedding planning now has been open communication about what we wanted, regardless of whether society expected things to go a certain way or not. So yes, Kyle wanted to propose to me, and I said, yeah, like I would like that as well. Even though that's sort of like a socially expected understanding that the man proposes to the woman, that is something that we chose that we also wanted, regardless of whether or not it's traditional. So there are going to be other things where we see those things as very traditional, and so we are combative about them, saying, no, I reject that traditionalism. With us choosing to make a new last name together, that is very much combative of a very expected role of a woman to take her husband's last name, right? Which is, for me at least, and again, you can do whatever you want, but for me is just, it's unnecessary. I don't understand why I have to change who I am to assimilate to his last name, right? Why couldn't he do that towards me if we are equal in this union? So then I thought, but it's not fair for him to have to take my last name because, again, we are equal in this union. It only makes sense for us then to make a new last name together. So, I mean, I would encourage people who are looking to get married or thinking about getting engaged, or, you know, maybe they're not even in a partnership but someday would want to be in a feminist partnership, to, you know, hold your partner to those standards of really helping you deconstruct what society says you should do in your relationship, in your marriage, I mean, in your engagement as well, and what you really feel is best for the two of you. So I'm gonna end that here. I will do a further series on, I think, our engagement over the course of time. We have a whole year, so I would love to hear questions from you guys about, you know, how we approach a certain subject, or how we approach talking to our parents about these things, or whatever you would want to know about sort of how we're going about our engagement and our wedding planning as it stands in a sort of a feminist lens. I would love to hear from you guys, any questions you have about that. If you like this vlog, please just give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.